There's got to be 30 birds there.
Ooh, that's a lot of hummingbirds.
I mean,
Yesterday I spent about 30 minutes cleaning feeders and making hummingbird juice. I made, okay, 2, 4, 6, 8 cups of sugar water.
didn't you hang 2 more feeders up?
I hung up this one up. It drips, it leaks so bad, but as fast as they're emptying them. Okay, all of these was full. They're emptying these about every 24 hours.
Oh,
And
wow.
I fill them all the way up.
Come on, Breezy, eat your breakfast.
And the geckos, they're coming up here.
Oh, the geckos are coming up after
Yeah.
the sugar that's
Yeah,
dripping.
after the sugar water. And their bellies are so fat that they're dragging.
They're getting full for the winter.
I guess. Because they're really gorging themselves on the sugar water.
Hummingbirds are sure wanting to get away from their groceries.
Oh, yesterday they were eating right beside my hand. They were feeding. I don't know why these doesn't fill up. Every now and then you have to go and tilt them. See, this was completely full.
Last night, right?
Well, yesterday I filled them all up. They all got filled yesterday at some point. It maybe yesterday afternoon. The 2 big ones I filled up yesterday afternoon. So they've ate this much since we got back on the bikes.
Huh.
So I'll be filling it up this afternoon. That's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna every afternoon just fill them up. Okay, girls, come on. You can tell the little males, they have just like 1 feather of red on their throats. Okay, there's the first adult older male that I've seen. There he is. Hey, girls. I'm so glad y'all come to see us. You can tell the young ones.
So we got to start naming them now. There's Francine, Llewellyn,
Billy Joe, Bobby Joe. Oh, yeah, so pretty. Yes, you are. What's funny is the ones that are repeaters from last year, they're not afraid of us, and they come and fly right in your face.
and then there's that one odd bird named Marilyn. He's a boy. Every family's got a Marilyn.
Thanks for coming to see us.
They're saying, back away from the groceries, lady.
If I stand there long enough, they'll all come and eat.
Yeah, if you don't move, they'll come and eat if you don't move.
Well, if the feeders have been empty for a while, too, you can start hanging up the feeders. They'll come eat with your hand right there.
Now we got 3 dogs. He's not going to eat them, so we'll give that to him later. Now we got 3 dogs moving around, so when the dogs move, they quit feeding. All right, it's All the dogs but Breezy are in. There's no movement. They should all start coming back. Boy, that is amazing. And Lucy just come out and they all scattered. Isn't that something, how they're really skittish? Lucy, light and sit. Sit down. Lucy, sit down, baby. Lay down. Come on, you're scaring the hummingbirds. Come lay down. You good girl. You good girl. You are. Yeah, this weirdo likes to lick Lucy's eye boogers. And Lucy likes to have her eye boogers licked. She'll sit here for hours and let Breezy lick her face. And then Lucy will go and lick Sunny's face. Sunny doesn't like it, but she'll endure until Lucy gets tired of licking her. These dogs love each other. I've never seen dogs that cared so much about each other. I never get tired of watching these birds. Just amazing. I guarantee you there's 30, maybe 40, because the ones that are eating, there's dozens more up in the trees waiting or digesting.
Okay, here's what I want, and maybe your subscribers they're more tech savvy than I am, and it will take me forever to look at something. I want something that I can stick in my ear and listen to music as I'm going down the road.
But we had some of them things.
And that would be...
those helmet things that you put on your helmet?
Yeah.
The Cena or Senna or something like that?
It's more than just a music thing.
Well, yeah, you could talk on them too. Intercom, and you can pick up radio, and you Bluetooth your phone to them.
Well, now, see, yeah, okay. Well, what I would like to do is have just my music and where I can download some music to my phone. And me and you don't need to talk. We're good with the hand signals.
Yeah. When I rub my belly, that means I'm hungry.
Yeah. Pat your head, cops up your head. Now we know all about traffic and the warnings, the signs. So, you know, we don't.
What about your iPods? They won't stay in, will they?
No, I don't know. I thought about trying that yesterday.
Well, don't you have a plug-in set of earphones?
I do.
That's what I would try. But I guarantee you, going down the road, they will not stay in your ears.
That's right. The cord, will be flopping around and it'll be gone. I had those clip-on sunglasses years ago.
I remember that.
I took off and they flew off my head, and I reached up, and I don't know how, but I caught them in mid-flight off my head. Put somebody's eye out. And yesterday, when that truck driver drove over into the other lane, I was watching him. We were going around that curve, and he went over into the hammer lane, and that is at the same moment my shirt blew up, and I thought it was going to blow up over my face.
She flashed a trucker.
Well, I had another shirt underneath, but I don't know. And I laughed. I thought, okay, he was looking at me in his rearview mirror, and that's why he... Yeah, traffic was good yesterday. I think it was my teal. I think everybody like crazy old lady dressed up. Stay away from her.
They were blinded by your teal.
I'm thinking. I really do believe people can see me there. We had people honk at us and do the wave.
Yeah, it was a good
Yeah.
136-mile trip.
It was. The best part about it for me was when we got in between the two wide loads. That, what to me, was fun.
Yeah,
We were like police escorts.
There was these wide loads, and I mean wide to the tune of about 30 feet. So there was no passing them, and we got, okay, one went through a light, and then the light turned green, so we went, and then the other wide load caught up to the first wide load with all these escorts and everywhere.
Yeah.
So there's no way we can pass them. We don't dare pull over because they'll kill us because they're that wide.
Yeah, there was nowhere
So
to get.
we're stuck in between them for, I would say, about 20, 30 miles, something like
It was
that.
a long way.
Long
it seemed
way,
like
yeah.
a long way. It was down
But
43.
all the escorts, they kind of calmed down. They were watching us like we were going to try to pass in somewhere stupid.
I'm not gonna,
And we didn't. And I think they kind of calmed down when they realized that we had no intention of doing anything stupid, and we were quite content being in between them. And
my God, look at the birds.
and we eventually came to a really, really wide spot, and with 2 lanes, 4 lanes in either direction, plus a breakdown lane. And there goes
birds.
squirrel. The squirrel chase is on. Sorry, birds. So anyway, the wide load finally found a really, really wide spot to pull over, and we knew he was pulling way over because he wanted us to go on around him, and we did.
Yeah, I did about, I got on up there. I was about doing 90 to get around all that, and the first escort, he was a good piece in front, so I just stayed on it.
Yep.
I did about 90 to get in front of all of them.
And then we only come across 2 butt heads yesterday. One was coming out of Longview. This lady was doing 40 miles an hour in a 65. So we wait and wait and wait, thinking, she'll pick up her speed. We had just left the town of, what is that? Is that Hallsville or Scottsville?
Hallsville.
That's Hallsville. And, it goes from 2 lanes down to 1 lane. So we're thinking, she realized she's, out of town now, and the speed is now 65, and she didn't. So we come to, it's still 2 lanes, but we do come through a zone where you can pass. So I jumped out there and passed, and this lady took off.
Yeah,
she went from 40 to 70 with me trying to pass her.
Yep, and for me to get around her, I'd have had to done 80.
Yeah.
And I thought about it, but I got back behind her, and sure enough, a truck topped the hill.
So I get in front of her, and I'm looking in my mirror. I'm waiting for Charlie to pass her. And she slows back down. And every opportunity there is to pass, she speeds back up. So that's a real butthole. I don't know why people drive around just looking for opportunities to antagonize and have, drive-by fist fights with people with their car. Just, it was a lady.
I didn't tailgate her. I didn't even get close, and I didn't even act like I was going to pass her. I drove normal, and then when we got to where there's the 4 lane where you can pass, and it's only like that for a short while. Well, she did. I think she probably got up to about 70, but I was going to win that race. No matter what, I was going to win. And then I made sure my bike was really loud when I got up beside her.
And so that was the first butthole in, 3-4 hours of riding. And then the only other butthole we come across was right as we're coming into our little town here. We picked up a tailgater that wasn't happy we were doing the speed limit.
Actually, we were doing 5 over, and they...
Well, in Texas, that's
the speed limit.
Yeah.
You're doing
if it says 55 and you're going 60, you are holding everybody up.
Right.
Honestly, I do not like Texas high-speed limits.
Yeah, I don't either.
You can't even pull out of your stinking driveway if you live on one of them 70-mile-an-hour 2-lane roads. I've never seen, it is ridiculous, the speed they let you go here in Texas. Ridiculous.
Well, here's the thing. We got on the interstate here at Wascom, and we went all the way to Longview, and we did the speed limit for the most part, until people were getting on and off. But we didn't pass a single vehicle.
Nope.
Not one vehicle. Yeah, everybody passed us, and we were doing the speed limit.
Yeah, I had my cruise set. That's how. Yeah, my motorcycle has a cruise.
Well, what was funny is there was this SUV was getting ready to pass us, and a vehicle come down an on-ramp to get on the interstate, and they slowed down, thinking that. But we didn't need to. So he passed, and I gave him a little thank you wave, and it was a community coffee van.
Yeah, I wanted to follow him.
Funny, yeah.
Give me some samples, mister.
Yeah. So what you got in there? Let me see.
So, here in our town, there is a southern... Who is that?
I don't know. Well, it's...
Oh, okay, that's Keith next door. In our town, there is a Southern Cruisers Riding Club chapter that is, for all intents and purposes, it is inactive. And Charlie is encouraging me to get a hold of the national guy and see if they would be interested in letting me take the Caddo Trails number 12 chapter over. And I don't even know if there are any members. I know that when I first moved to Wascom, we first got bikes, I tried contacting this chapter, Southern Cruisers chapter. And I tried email and I tried phone many times over the course of a few months, and I got no response. And then...
Oh, he ran into the feeder.
Ran into the feeder? The bird did?
One of them did.
Oh, I didn't see that. And then we ended up joining the old Southern Cruisers chapter that we were members of, because they're the next closest one to us. They're over in, well, the chapter is in Shreveport, but the chapter president is down in Mansfield?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mansfield, Louisiana. I mean, people come from far away to be a part of that chapter. And in all honesty, there is no safe, convenient place for the chapter to meet in Shreveport, because if you know anything about Shreveport, you got to carry a pistol and an AR-15 with a bunch of mags if you go anywhere in Shreveport, because it is definitely turned into a Detroit and a Chicago. And the police, they are just they're how many 100 cops short?
Yeah.
There's nothing they can do. They can't keep up with it. The violence is increased. Anyway, nobody's safe in Shreveport, and they can't afford to hire cops. And then they started the defund the cop nonsense.
Well, here's what it is. They're 100 cops short. Okay, well, the cops that they do have are spending all their time investigating shootings and murders that they can't go out
plus
and fight
they're working
crime.
them to death. These guys, they're working 12 hours a day, and sometimes 6-7 days a week. I don't know if they have limits on their hours like truck drivers do, but there simply is not enough cops in Shreveport. And there is an enormous amount of violent crime.
Ooh, that's a nice
So there's no safe place in Shreveport to meet.
Come on,
So
Sonny.
you have to meet either in Bossier, which is an hour drive for us.
Come on. You got an apron in your
So
foot.
if I could get this Caddo Trails chapter started back up and get some members, that would be more convenient for people that live on this side of Shreveport and maybe Marshall, maybe even Longview.
Well, tell the man that was in charge that we talked to.
Yeah, I don't know if that was for certain the man that was in charge.
Okay.
I think the man that was in charge passed away. I saw a post on a Facebook page about somebody in the Caddo Trails chapter passing away, and I suspect that might have been the guy that was in charge of this chapter. Anyway, I'm thinking about maybe getting hold of the head dude and seeing if I can take that chapter over, because there's no activity there. They don't even have a Facebook page. There's no way to get a hold of them. They don't have a website, nothing.
So that would be us. We would be
That would be it. We would be the two members. But I would, advertise, and I would shake hands and put notes up in motorcycle shops and stuff like that.
Beverly could be a member.
Advertise, I would advertise runs and You know, eventually we would attract people that just wanted to ride.
Hey, Beverly could be a member, and she could follow us in her car with water and snacks.
Water and snacks, and there you go.
Little Debbie's. She's in charge of Little Debbie's. Coffee.
This is 20 minutes. I wonder if people are still here, because mostly it's for the hummingbirds, but it's really funny how they have these waves of massive amounts of eating, and then just a couple of them, and then a few minutes later, a massive amount of them.
Well, here's what I've learned over the years. It took me a long time to figure this out. I would have these feeders scattered out all over the yard, and then you would have one dominant hummingbird that would guard that feeder so nobody else got to eat. So if you put them all together, that's how they get to feed. They all come down at once, and you can't have one bird run everybody off. So that way that's why they all come down in waves and eat. So that
as soon as that sun comes up over the top of that RV carport, I won't be able to film because the sun will be right in the camera.
it's supposed to be cloudy all day. We're supposed to get rain about 2 o'clock. And it was hot yesterday. Oh my God.
It was hot. It was humid more than anything. I was okay while we were riding, but every time we stopped, I started sweating.
Well, my head was soaking wet. I had fun. That was really fun. I'm not riding for a couple of years. And the bad part of it is every time I hear a bike go by, I want to go ride. Or if you open the garage and I see, I can actually smell the bikes. And when I smell them, I want to go riding. And thank you, Jesus. I can still ride. And my bucket list. I'm working on my bucket list.
Yeah, she wants to, for her 70th birthday, she wants to do a 1,000-mile iron butt. I don't even know if I can drive that.
I think they're calling it saddle sore now instead of iron butt.
No, the saddle sore is something else. I think the saddle sore is 1,500 miles. The iron butt is 1,000 miles, under 24 hours.
I can do it. I can.
Although, I'll tell you, that seat, you remember that last Harley I had? I spent, what, $500-600 on a seat?
Oh, no, it was 1,000, and I remember where you bought it. In Henderson, Nevada.
Oh, did I?
Yep.
Okay. How heavy is that?
6.
Is that 30 pounds? Is that 30 or 20?
It's 20. 8. I can do like these. I can do like 100 of these.
Yeah, curls.
Yeah.
This is why she's, 67 and can ride a motorcycle still. Me, I'm naturally physically fit. I'm in great shape.
I told you you're going to have to lose weight.
Round is a shape.
You have to lose weight before we can try the iron, but I'm going to have to lose a few pounds myself.
So anyway, my seat, I bought a very, very expensive seat years ago from, I had an 06 Harley Ultra Classic, Electroglide Ultra Classic. Beautiful bike. And the seat that came on that bike was like sitting on a plank. It was. So anyway, I bought a really expensive seat. And I suffered with that seat. It was not comfortable. I wasn't going to admit it to anyone because I spent so much on that. And I suffered the whole time I had that bike. And this seat, the bike I have now is a 04 Road King Classic. Or is it custom? Is it classic or custom?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I think it's classic. Anyway, the seat, the stock factory seat, is very, very comfortable. I am surprised. But, yeah, I'm not going to make any changes with that. That seat fits me good and doesn't hurt my tailbone or nothing.
For me to stay in the seat, I've got to get highway pegs, road pegs, in that perfect sweet spot for me to sit in the seat. Because then I'm able to lean back and my back doesn't hurt. So, I'm preparing myself. I'll be 70 and it will be 10 years, hopefully, cancer-free. And so I'll have 2 things to celebrate. We'll see. lot of preparing.
Yeah. We'll need new tires by then.
Oh my God, they're just beautiful.
Isn't that amazing?
It is. It's just breathtaking for me.
This is the wave I was talking about. They just go in these crazy waves.
Yeah, look at that one sitting up there at the top on the feeder. That's waiting their turn.
"25 minutes we've been out here, or I've had this on, so I'm going to go 30 full minutes and then shut it off. So let's just try to be quiet and not disturb them for 30 minutes. Still working on my coffee. It's good coffee.
You know, these are migrating, but they come here every year.
Every year, yeah.
Norman fed them down there. They were
when
for
Norman,
years.
Yeah.
When
he fed them, he would put a dozen feeders out,
right.
And he would have hundreds of these hummingbirds.
Now we came over one year. Gosh, it's been years ago. Probably about 6-7 years ago. I couldn't believe it. It was the first time I had ever seen that many hummingbirds in one spot. So this is a tradition.
Yeah, these birds have been coming here for many years.
Well, you know, they don't live that long. I think they live like 3 or 4 years maybe. So these are...
Well, I didn't mean these exact birds.
Well, I know, but I'm
meant...
just saying the migration comes through here every year. And we do have some that stay here during the summer, but for the most part, you know, I keep a feeder up all summer, and every now and then I'll look out here and see a bird or two. But they go north. I don't know where. Yep, I went so fast yesterday, I couldn't see.
Hey. Yeah, when she went around that, was that when you couldn't see when that lady you were trying to pass that lady?
Yeah, it was when we passed out all the wide load and all the escorts. I was telling them I was speed blind. I was blinded by the speed. It was just a blur. You know, this is being on a Harley going 90 versus when I had that road liner and going 90. That was like a Cadillac going 90. You didn't even know you were going 90. I did 100 and was shocked when I looked down to see how fast I was going. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to blow off the bike. But, boy, you know you're going 90 on that Harley.
I just have a picture of some cop really mad pulling this 90-mile-an-hour biker over. And then he gets you on the side of the road and realizes it's a gray-haired granny with her knitting with her. And
what my bucket list was to figure out somehow I could put curlers in my head and a helmet and have a cop pull me over doing, you know, maybe 90 and take my helmet off. That was my bucket list.
Walmart's got a sale. Hurry up and rent my ticket.
Yeah. Yeah. Being chased by, and it'd be fun for it to be a local cop.
Okay.
You know that one cop in Minden, we got on it and he was grinning. I thought, oh man, he's gonna come. He was laughing. Because my bike had set off a few car alarms.
Yeah.
And we were in town. I don't know if you remember this, but they were filming Premonition
Well, they filmed 2 movies there.
Okay,
Premonition was one of them.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's when we came through town. Well, heck, I didn't know they were filming a video. And, oh my God.
Her bike was so loud
Yeah,
they had to stop filming.
The sound crew or whoever, they were like, they're throwing their arms up in the air like, come on.
Her bike was so loud that she would set car alarms off when she would go by them.
Well, the thing is, when I went through the middle of town there in Minden, you got those big, tall buildings on both sides, so it
reverberated, yeah.
I mean, it was like being in a cave. And that's where they were filming. It was downtown, right? And
somebody, we were talking about loud bikes several months ago, and some cranky old guy left a comment saying, he was making a comment about loud bikes, and he didn't like loud bikes. And I was thinking, so don't buy a loud bike.
oh my God.
I mean, if you hear a loud bike, it's gone in seconds.
Yeah.
You only hear it for a second. It's not like they pull up to your house and park in your driveway and, rev their motors up. If you hear it, it's gone in a minute. So just endure.
Well, my theory of life is live loud. We rode when we came back from Orlando, we rode, straight back. We didn't stop.
14 or 15 hours? 16 hours?
Yeah. And I could not hear for a week after that riding. My bike was that loud.
Plus, you were behind my bike, and my bike was pretty loud, too.
And I literally could, and I loved it.
Yeah, that was the longest we'd ever rode. How many miles was that?
Oh, it was about 900.
900 miles to Orlando. We rode out there, straight out there, didn't stop, and partied. And by partied, I mean we had Diet Coke and... we were truck drivers. Neither of us did any... we didn't smoke and we didn't even drink. We still don't drink.
That was Bike Week.
It was Bike Week. And we rode straight out there, no stopping. It was a good ride. It was a little cold, though. We had to stop and buy her some gloves. Remember that? I told you to bring some gloves. You said, I don't need no gloves.
It was 32 degrees when we left.
We went about 200 miles and pulled into a Walmart, bought you some gloves.
Yeah, I remember that.
Anyway, good ride.
It
was
fun.
Had a good time out there. Met a lot of friends that people we'd known and hung out with and trucking. And then it was all over. We jumped on the bikes and drove straight back. 16 hours on motorcycles. And the reason it takes so long on motorcycles is because you're only good for 30, 150 miles. You got to get fuel because they're little fuel tanks. I think these bikes, we could go a couple hundred miles. 180. I wouldn't want to push it past 180 unless I knew exactly where a fuel stop was.
My bike, the problem was if I got on it, which I did a lot, there was never you maxed it out on every gear when you shifted.
Oh, that was that Yamaha, the little Yamaha, the white one?
Well, even the Roadliner, I should have gotten way better gas mileage than what I did, but it's not fun if you're not making noise. And
when you look back over our life, we've never been wealthy, never had a lot of money, but we have always had a blast.
Yep. Good times.
Yep.
I have never lived my life. Can't. Never. No one ever told me that I couldn't do something.
I guess the term, you got to make your own fun, it really does ring true. You can sit around and be unhappy that you don't have the money to go do something, or you can just go do something and find a way to afford it.
Right.
When we went to Orlando, we had a friend whose parents owned a motel. And I'm not talking about a fancy motel. I'm talking about where...
by the hour?
By the hour. But it was a place to lay our heads at night because, we didn't stay there during the day.
They had more stray cats than they had people.
Oh, God, I had to cover my motorcycle up to keep the stray cats off my seat. Yeah, that was funny. And he had a brother that had a house there, not right in Orlando, it was south of Orlando where he was, and it was almost to where they launched the shuttle. Where was that?
Cape Canaveral, was it?
Well, no. That Florida, hon, not.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I don't remember that because that was not part of the fun thing.
Well, his brother owned a house there, and,
Right,
and he had a lot of
everybody
land,
camped there,
and he
right.
let all of us, well, not us, we had the motel room, but there was people, other friends of ours, all truck drivers that brought their campers and their motorcycles and park in his yard. And my God, we had a blast.
Yeah.
We cooked, we
It was
ate.
Daytona. I keep saying Orlando, but
Daytona, yeah.
it was Bike Week in Daytona.
Bike week in Daytona, right. Well, anyway, we only went to the bike week once.
Well, hell, you sat, like if you wanted to get caught up when you got to a red light, you would sit like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, it took
at a
you that
red
much.
light.
All for what? To be seen on your motorcycle
And
at bike
people
week.
would ride three
Yeah.
across, and I would always have that one goofy guy that would get up beside me, and I lived in fear of being run over or knocked over.
So we actually didn't do but one day at bike week, and the rest of the time we hung out with the campers and had bonfires and cooked.
We
and
went on rides.
rides.
My
We went on
God,
a lot of
went
rides, yeah.
all over Florida, and then we rode over to your mom's in Arcadia.
Yep.
Yeah, that was fun. Of course, your mom was so upset.
She did not want those dirty bikers in her
Park.
old folks mobile home park. Yep. What will people think? And I had some things on my helmet that she didn't like.
Yeah.
And she made me some stickers.
What the funny part about that was she didn't want her neighbor, who was a retired pastor,
Yeah.
to see us or hear us or look at your helmet. And he was a truck driver before he became a pastor.
Yeah,
and
so-
he came out and he thought that was funny. He
Yeah.
busted out laughing.
I had a sticker on my helmet.
say it.
I won't say it. But it was funny, but it was, very vulgar. And my mom wanted me to hide my helmet from the pastor next door. And he come over and he had a good laugh at what it said. So, plus he was a long haul trucker before he became a pastor, so we know he knew some language.
Yeah, we had a long, funny conversation with him, and her mom, Brad's mom, was just livid with she kept saying, "Don't make them sound loud," and I'm thinking,
God, we're gonna have
How's
to push
that
him out of here
possible?
because if I start it, it's loud.
How is that possible? I mean, if you go that slow, it'll fall over.
Yeah, they were kind of like Nazis in that park anyway.
Yeah.
One time we visited with the dog, and my God, the hoops you had to jump through to take your dog to poop.
Couldn't let it walk. You had to
Couldn't let it
drive
walk.
over
Yep.
there.
Couldn't let walk your dog over to the dog pooping area. Yeah, they made it very. I'm sure they have rules, because if they don't and they're not real strict, and then next thing you know, you got junk cars in the yard and refrigerators on the front porch. So I understand, it's one extreme or the other.
These birds almost sound like parakeets. The noises they're making. I had a wren come up here. She was sitting over here on the rail, and she was fussing at these hummingbirds. I think she thought they were getting something she wasn't getting, and she just fussed and fussed and fussed. I had to come out here and run her off.
I'm gonna drink one more cup, and then so we're going to Walmart today.
We are Walmart bound. I've been putting Walmart off so long that now I'm going to have to take out a second mortgage to pay for everything. Normally, I buy the same stuff. Every time I go, we use the same, and it's gone from like $250 to about $400.
Wow.
Plus now I'm out of everything, so this could be a credit card run on this.
You see,
one.
the dog just disappeared.
Yeah, a noise,
Yeah.
a certain noise, and then they all leave at once.
The other day when the truck popped his brakes out there behind us there, and they all took off, that was funny.
Let's see, watch this. Funny. They make me smile.
Yep.
I love that one that sits on top of the feeder.
I think I was just thinking about when we used to have a blast fishing. You and I, we were poor as a snake. I mean, I had a junk car that took a quart of oil to get to the lake and a quart of oil to get back.
Yeah,
And
we had a boat on top
we
of
had a
that
boat,
thing.
no motor, just oars. And we would go, back then we lived in between Bossier City and Benton on Highway 3, and the lot is still there. It hadn't sold yet. And we had a little 14-foot aluminum John boat, and we would tie that down to the top of that station wagon. It was a Mazda wagon. And buy a quart of oil, because that's what it took to get up there. And go fishing and row around with our paddles and fish and catch fish all day and just have a blast.
Yep, that was fun. Over there by the dam.
Yep.
Schuler's Camp.
Schuler's Camp, yep.
Schuler, nice old lady.
We used to hang out with that old lady that ran
She's
Schuler's
nice.
Camp. And at one point, she wanted us to take over her business. She was going to give us her mobile home and let us run her business. It was baits and rental boats and stuff like that. But we were truck drivers, and by that time, we owned a truck, and we had obligations.
Yeah, life sure offers you different paths.
I'm telling you.
I can
Yeah.
think of dozens of opportunities,
You know,
and I didn't do.
I just remember my first opportunity to take a different path was when it was 1980, and for 9 months I worked with Ryan Schmidt Contracting.
Oh no, here we go with the mall floor. Oh my God.
The Bossier City Mall was just being built, and I got on with a contractor who put the floor in, the tile floor. It took 9 months to do the entire floor, all the bathrooms.
And you did it all by yourself?
No, good God.
I'm kidding. That story gets better.
Oh yeah, well of
over
course.
years.
I did all by myself, and it took me 3 days. Anyway, the contracting company wanted me to go with them. They would furnish me with a place to stay and pay for motels and all that, and they had all the other guys that worked for this contracting. That's what they did: go from state to state and building site to building site, installing floors. And I thought, yeah, they paid pretty good, and actually paid really well. And can you imagine not having to pay any rent anywhere, and they bought your food every day? But I decided not to. And if I had, who knows what direction my life would have took.
Yep.
And you may never have met me, and I couldn't imagine depriving of you of that gift that God gave you, which was me.
We were meant to meet because we knew people that together that we knew that were in our lives, and me and you, our paths never. Well, they maybe they had, but so it was just. I am blessed every day.
I mean,
wake up.
if all we did for the rest of our life was sit on this front porch and watch the sun come up, that is still a pretty blessed life.
Not me. I'm going to live out loud every day. The Lord has given me another shot at life, and every day I want to do something, accomplish something I didn't do the day before. Even if it's just feeding the hummingbirds. I still have plans of things I want to do before the Lord comes and gets me. Yeah, it's like whoever said it, I don't know who said it. Weren't they afraid of catching COVID and dying? And I'm afraid of not living.
You just said that word. YouTube's gonna ban me from their
yeah.
platform.
Sorry.
Yep, sometimes I sit here and just have this wave of thankfulness wash over me.
Yep, me too. Every day.
It's been a hard life. We've suffered a lot. Trucking's a hard life. Nobody's ever done it could deny what a hard life trucking was.
I remember going days without sleep. You'd sleep maybe like 30 minutes.
And even when you're sleeping, your brain never lets go of the fact that you're in danger.
I could wake up, I'd be asleep and wake up, and I could tell within maybe 30, 40 miles of where we were just by the bumps in the road,
The curves,
the
hills.
the smell.
Yep.
I knew exactly where we were. I never ever woke up and said, "Where are we?" I knew where we were.
And that's how Joe always knew when we were getting close to one of his usual pooping stops.
He had his favorite rest areas. And that dog, with about 2 or 3, maybe 4 miles before I'd get to this rest area, that dog would get down from the bunk and come get in the seat. He knew where we were, and he knew. And I always thought that was amazing. And he had, there were rest areas that had, we called them squeaky things, but they were them ground squirrels.
And he would just go from hole to hole and sniff and huff and puff and
run and.
Yep, he loved that rest area. Plus, it had a stream that ran behind it as a nice place to walk.
You're talking about on 81.
81 in Virginia, yeah.
Yeah, in Virginia. It was at the bottom of, I think it was Benson Hill, I don't know. But you picked up that going downhill and a black bird, Virginia.
Blacksburg?
That's it. And it was downhill from there, and it was a long downhill, and I thought, not Benson Hill. Benson is over in Arizona. What am I thinking? You know what? I'm glad I don't remember all these names and places and stuff, because when you're a truck driver, you have all that, you have that map, those roads etched in your brain. You know where the curves are, you know where the hills are, you know where the truck stops are. And I'm glad all that's gone, because I don't need that anymore, and my brain has gotten rid of it.
Yes.
I'm downsizing.
And that's the thing I would, if I was raising young people today, you know, they're so dependent on technology. Yesterday, we were not lost. I'm going to use the word lost, but I don't mean lost in like we had no idea where we were or what direction we wanted to go. As long as you know the 4 cardinal directions, right, you're not lost.
Or the simple fact that we were, you know, you picked up 31 and you said you didn't know where it went. Well, we both knew it went north. Okay?
Right.
Because it's the highway number 31. But all your...
I wonder if people know that.
I don't know, but all your odd numbers go north and south.
That's a good thing to tell folks. I don't think anybody is probably still listening. It's almost an hour of hummingbirds.
That's why I don't have a YouTube channel, because I could talk all day.
Odd-numbered highways go north and south. Even-numbered highways go east and west. Did you know that? Have you ever noticed that? Like Interstate 20 goes from, Florence, South Carolina to just past Toya, Texas.
Picks up 10, and 10 goes all the way to the ocean.
Yeah, 10 goes from Jacksonville, Florida to, L.A., right?
L.A. But anyway, when you got on 149, I thought, I didn't know where it went, but I knew we were headed back north, and we had been going south. So, you know, you're never lost. You know, the truck drivers say you're never lost till you run out of fuel.
And then you have your north-south highways, 35, 65, 75, 91, 95, the 101, the 401, the 405.
605.
605, yeah.
You talking about California. You got California on the burn.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times we run up and down the 405.
Yeah, you know,
Busiest
California.
interstate in the
I would
United
actually
States.
like California if it wasn't for their politics.
You know, it was easier to drive and all that traffic. You know, traffic is traffic. It doesn't matter what interstate you're on or what state you're or city. Traffic is traffic. It's how people behave in their vehicles. And to me, driving along with people in California was way easier than it was
Yep.
in Dallas, Houston. Them people mean.
Yeah, people
Just
weren't
mean.
vicious in California
Nope.
like they are in Houston and Dallas
Well,
and
they
Atlanta.
weren't. If you're gonna go, if you're gonna get from point A to point B, you've got to let people on and off. Yeah. Traffic comes to a stop when people are mean and won't let people merge. Or,
Yeah.
You know.
I'll tell you a quick one. In Houston, for 12 years we did the same thing over and over. You'd come into Houston Monday early morning, and you'd stay in the right lane or the second lane, out of everybody's way. You don't want to stay in the right lane in rush hour traffic because you got people getting on, constantly getting on. And if you stay in the second lane, you're safer. Everybody's safer. So you get into Houston, and 59 North is 6 lanes across all the way to the left. And you got to get from the second lane in rush hour bumper to bumper traffic all the way to the far left lane in order to get on 59 North. And let me tell you, people in Houston are absolutely vicious when it comes to letting somebody change lanes.
Well, it's not just trucks. I mean, they do it to each other.
Each other, yeah, cars.
Mean, just downright mean.
And speed up and block people from getting. I've never seen such hateful driving. I don't know what it is about Houston. Maybe it's the water.
You can ask any truck driver. They'll tell you, all truck drivers agree on the meanest people to be around. To me, Minnesota. I don't know what it's like now, but back when we used to go to Minnesota all the time, they were the nicest, politest drivers.
Right. The difference between, let's say, Houston or Atlanta or Dallas, and then Minneapolis, St. Paul,
Oh my
was
God.
like night and day. It was like you had died and gone to heaven.
It was like if they would offer you coffee and donuts when
Yeah.
you go to get on. They would just, oh, hello, good morning, come on.
Oh no,
come
after
on.
you first. No, I insist.
No, you go ahead, yeah. You need over, come on. You know, it was every time we ever went to Minneapolis, St. Paul, it was like that. It just nice people. What they have learned is that you allow people to do what they need to do, and traffic will keep going. It will flow. Okay, my heart's pounding about trucking. Boy, I start talking
Isn't
about
it amazing
trucking.
it does that to both of
Yeah,
us? My
you
heart gets to
start-
pounding when I remember all the
Yep.
stress and the frustration and the anger and the mean people you had to deal with
I did
daily.
I did mostly the driving in L.A., California.
Yeah, because there's that little assault charge.
I would say I did 95% of that, and to me it was a piece of cake. It was a breeze.
I drove at night, and that was the only way I was able to drive as long as I did, was I drove at night.
And I didn't mind the traffic at all. People, I don't how you drive in L.A. It's a road with a bunch of people on it. That's all it is. It's the same.
And here's another thing that I've noticed. If you drive like an asshole, you're
find-
surrounded by assholes.
You find the
Yep. And if you drive with some concern and care for your fellow human, no matter how silly that sounds, if you drive like a decent person, you're more often surrounded by decent folks.
Yep. I've got stories that would, make your hair stand up. I will never forget one morning, and it was morning traffic, and this was in, when I say Nashville, I have to think a minute where I was. Is that where 75 goes north?
Nashville?
Yeah. Isn't it Nashville?
Yeah.
I'll have to search my memory there, but anyway, I was on the loop to get on 40, I'm guessing. I can't believe I can't remember the interstates. Well, anyway, as getting back to the story, there was a pickup truck and a car that was having their little morning road rage, which you see people talk about it now. No, it's been around forever in morning traffic or afternoon traffic. And the next thing I see is that pickup truck pointing a gun at the car, who I am now behind the car, and the car just slammed on their brakes. But I was ready for all this because I seen what was going down. And I'm thinking, oh my God, he's going to shoot the car and it's going to hit me. I can't tell you how many times I've seen such horrible behavior.
Yeah.
When all you have to do is just slow down and let them go. You don't have to participate.
Yeah, we've seen road ragers wreck and deserved it.
Yep, I seen one wipe
Oh,
out.
we always used to say, what? Two assholes have met.
Yeah, that's what I would always say. Okay, two assholes have met. I had one give a car a brake job. I was coming over on close to LA, and Ontario is where it was. And it had just started to rain. So the guy gave the guy behind him a brake job.
Oh, that was before banning.
No, this was in LA.
It was after banning?
Yeah, oh yeah. I was coming into Ontario and watched this guy spin around in the interstate like 10 times and then go off.
Yep, he caused his own wreck.
Yep.
Okay, 4 more minutes, and actually 3 minutes and 20 seconds, and it'll be 1 whole hour of us chatting and hummingbirding.
I got hours and hours of trucker things stuck in my head. It just takes a second for them to, especially scale masters.
Yeah, we've met some real, I guess you would call them power mongers.
Oh man, especially when they look and see a woman in the seat.
Yeah.
Up, and then it goes.
We had a scale man that hassled Charlie so much that we sold that truck and bought a new truck so he wouldn't look for that truck anymore.
Yeah, and I tinted the window so he couldn't see me in the seat. And no matter what I did, it wasn't right. It was every time I went over that scale. But he wasn't the only one. Up there in Missouri, I had that guy until you went in with me. Do you remember that?
I remember that.
He called me in every time I got on that scale.
Yep.
And then finally, you went in behind me, and the guy was like, I don't know, 5 foot.
He did not know you had a big husband in the sleeper.
You'd never been up in the seat when I went across it. And you went in behind me and slammed my briefcase. At the time, we had a briefcase. He slammed it on the counter and said, "What do you need to see this time?" And he never called me back in again. It wasn't fun anymore. But I tell you what, Virginia knew me by name. Every time I walked in, remember? I had to go, that was the tunnel that went under the interstate.
I do, yeah.
I had to walk all the way through that tunnel and go to that scale. And the second I walked in the door, they would say, "Hello, Louisiana. How you been?" They knew me and gave me a ticket. Every time I went in there. Every time I went across that scale, I got a ticket. Yep.
What was it? Was it for weight?
Yeah, we were sloshing. They wouldn't let
right,
me wait.
right. Yeah, well, I tell you, that's the dirty thing. When you're pulling a tanker, especially what they call a smoothbore tanker, and that means you have no baffles in the tank to prevent the sloshing from, fore and aft, to and fro, hither and yon. And so you pull up on the scale, and the stuff we had, man, it would take 10 minutes for it to stop sloshing. Yeah, but they wouldn't wait.
Yeah, melted plastic. It was heavy.
They would punch their ticket when you were in a slosh, and then fine you for being over on an axle with, knowing you were sloshing. Dirty, dirty, dirty.
I mean, you could see the scale move. Remember when we would haul rosin? It was, we would have like a half a tank. So you had a huge slosh, and it would sit on the scale going back and forth, back. And Florida was the worst. They would make us sit on the scale.
Yep.
And it would slosh for, 5 minutes. I've had people in the parking lot say, "Your truck is moving."
No, that's the rosin
sloshing. sloshing. And they would make you sit there and, because so many people complained about having us sit on the scale. Yeah, fun times.
Yeah, fun times, and we sure did meet a lot of dishonest people.
Yep.
And you know what? 90% of the dishonest people had badges.
That's right. They did. I've had cops tell me, I want to write you a ticket so bad, but I can't find anything. Remember the tunnel police
The tunnel
in
cop,
Mobile?
for sure. I remember
Pouring
him.
down rain. And he stood outside my truck telling me, okay, I'm going to find something. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to write you a ticket. Okie dokie. Stand out there in the rain.
Half an hour on the side of the road with him scratching his head, trying to figure out a way to write us a ticket. And here's what it was. You're not allowed to go through the Mobile Tunnel if you're hazmat. And we had placards, but the type of hazmat we had was elevated temperature. That was the only hazard. And once you empty your tank, and your tank comes down below, what was it, 180
Yeah.
temperature?
Yeah, it was
You're no longer
below.
considered hazmat.
And we would flip our placards. We didn't have to be placarded.
Right, we didn't have to be
anymore.
placarded, and taking the truck route around Mobile instead of going through the tunnel was way out of the way back then. Now they've got new bridge, and back then you had to go through the ghetto.
Yeah,
That was part of the truck route.
Yeah.
I mean, it was scary at night. They had liquor stores, and, you know, you were
Walk
not
right out
safe.
in front of you.
Yep. So we would avoid going that, you know, taking the truck route legally. We're well within the confines of the law. And this tunnel cop pulled us over, trying to figure out a way where we were wrong. And it was black and white. You couldn't stretch the law, although he could. But he couldn't find a way of honestly writing us a ticket.
Yeah, he kept
And after
saying,
30 minutes of standing out in the rain, him, not us, we were in the truck.
I wouldn't get out. He kept telling me, I'm gonna give you a ticket for being hazmat and going through the tunnel. I said, I'm not hazmat. There's nothing in my tank that is hazmat. It was elevated. And
he said, well, how do I know you're not elevated? I said, there's a temperature gauge on the tank.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, well, he sat back there.
We had an answer for everything, and it really broke his heart that he couldn't write us a ticket.
I mean, he was nice about it. And he come up and he said, okay, I'm going to let you go. I can't, I really wanted to write you a ticket, but I'm afraid I'm going to cut you loose. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Okay, 1 hour and 2 minutes. That's enough.
Oh, no.
So I'm going to drink one more cup of coffee, take a shower, and then go push a buggy in
Are you
Walmart.
really going to take a shower to go to Walmart?
I didn't take a shower last night.
Oh, this is going to be a wonderful day.
Yeah.
I have to look for you instead of smell for you, right?
That's just mean.
That's mean. It was a joke.
Okay. Tomorrow is a knife shop day.
We smell like motorcycle gas.